Welcome to the last episode of this mini-series focusing on career success roadblocks. Career success roadblocks. I hope that you've enjoyed the first 3 episodes. I'm always getting some positive feedback. Thank you for that. And then I also get some questions from time to time asking for some clarity, which I also appreciate. So thank you. Keep all the comments and the questions and all of the overarching feedback. Keep that coming in. I always appreciate it. I always love hearing from all of you. That's the purpose and the intention of this podcast and the YouTube channel, right? So keep it coming. Now, today we're going to pivot a little bit. All right. Today we're not going to talk about the mindset that we may or may not be in relative to a roadblock. Today, I want to give you 3 clues that if you're experiencing them or you're starting to say these things to yourself, whatever it is, depending upon the clue, I want you to go, oh, red flag, I need to pause. I need to assess. Okay. That's what we want to walk through today. Because that's the question that I get. Okay, Katrina, I get the roadblock. I understand the mindset. I get how I could be stopped, right? Or I may be getting close to that roadblock. I may start traveling down that path a little bit. How do I know for certain? Give me some clues. I get the concept. Now give me the clue. So that if I'm going 55 down the road and I'm starting to approach the roadblock and my mindset is starting to shift, I can see the clues and get around the roadblock without having to slow down. And that's where we all want to be. So that's perfect. So let's talk about the clues. I have 3 of them. Now, before we go into these clues, let me tell you one more thing. When you identify a clue in your life, do exactly what I said just a second ago. That doesn't mean, oh my gosh, something's wrong, I've got to fix it. No. There may be. There may be the true and honest fact that you are sitting there and you are dealing with a mindset block and you have to be able to push past it in order to move your career forward. And there's clear, definitive action that you need to take. It very well could be the case. But it could also just be that you're having a bad day. And we all have bad days. And it's an exception. It's not a rule. And you get through the bad day and you keep moving forward and everything's fine. In other words, what I want you to do is when you see one or more of these clues, just start asking some questions and assess the situation to determine if you're approaching that roadblock, if you're sitting at that roadblock, if you're stopped, stalled, whatever you want to call it, and then you need to react accordingly. Okay? Awesome. So let's go ahead and dive into this. The first clue is you're trying to generate results in your organization, whatever metrics you need to deliver, right? Because as leaders in any capacity, leading a team and leading a portion of the business, we're always responsible for some sort of metric. There's something that's being measured, right? Ultimately, we all have an endpoint. The endpoint is the P&L, right? The endpoint is the financial results for the company for the end of the fiscal year. But we have all these lead measures to tell us if we're contributing in all the right ways to help the organization get where they need to be financially, right? We know that. If you're looking at your lead measures that you're responsible for and you're just not hitting the mark, and you believe that you are doing everything that you can, you're doing all the right things and something's not coming together, that could be a clue. Okay? It is a clue. It could be a roadblock. Let me say it that way. That's a clue. It could be that you're facing a roadblock. Let me walk you through it. If you are assigned various metrics, let's pretend it's customer service levels, right? Let's pretend that you're customer facing, and so there's certain customer service metrics that you need to hit. And it doesn't matter what's going on, you're not delivering to them. That's a clue. I want you to sit down and assess if you're approaching or you're sitting still at a roadblock for your career success. And I want you to honestly look at the situation and ask yourself, am I delivering to the level of success the company's asking? Am I achieving this metric through the way the company's asking me to deliver it? Am I giving my all in the way in which the company needs me to give? Or am I doing all these things over here that I hope will work, but it's not the ways in which the company is asking me to deliver the results? Am I doing these things over here or all the functions that I'm doing, am I doing them because they make me feel valuable, or are they actually the functions that the organization has asked me to perform? Okay. In other words, I want you to take the 3 roadblocks that we've talked about, and I want you to look through each of those lenses, asking yourself, could this be why the results are not being generated? Entertain those questions and ask yourself that. The answer is going to be yes or no. The reason why you've got to assess is it could be that it's a roadblock. It could also be the fact that you're not delivering metrics because you were promised resources or various tools or headcount or whatever the resources were in order to achieve the end result, and you have not been given those resources. And so it doesn't matter what mindset you have, you don't have enough resources to generate those results. That doesn't have anything to do with you. That's not a personal roadblock that you've created that is stalling out your career. That's an organizational resource issue. Okay. But we got to keep coming back and doing these gut checks and self-reflecting, because quickly we could pivot from it's a resource issue to it's a mindset issue, because those things can happen just like that, right? As fast as we change our minds and our perspectives about something, positively or negatively, that's when our outlook changes, and that's when our attitude and our actions will change, right? So just because we assess and it's not a mindset roadblock at that point doesn't mean we couldn't quickly shift there. So not only do I want you to ask yourself this as soon as the metrics are not being delivered, but if you're continuing to go down this path of missing the metrics, I want you to set on a regular basis a reminder on your calendar to do this gut check and look back and say, okay, where are we? Let's be honest with ourselves. Why are we not delivering? What are the barriers and the roadblocks? Could any part of that be me and my mindset that I need to shift in order to overcome and deliver the right results? Or is it something else, or is it a combination of both? Okay. That's roadblock number 1, or clue number 1, rather, for a possible roadblock. Clue number 2. If you find yourself regularly in meetings or in conversations where different things are being rolled out, right? Different strategies are being discussed. Different programs are going to be created. And you're a part of that, depending upon your level, whether you're a manager all the way up to an executive at this point. If you find yourself at any point saying, yeah, I'm not doing that. We'll go do this over here. I'm not doing it that way, or I'm not buying into that, or I'm not. That is a clue. Now, have we all been there from time to time? Probably, yeah. I think that most any leader that I've spoken with from time to time, and they could probably count on one hand how many times they've said that in their career. I know that's where they want us to go. We need to go over here. And they've taken the risk. They've owned the risk. They were very vocal about not going over there and coming over here to try this. They worked with leadership. It was not this subversive, hidden action that they were doing. They were committed to a different pathway, and they partnered appropriately, and they went down this other pathway, almost like a test, if you will. But they were given the latitude to go. What I'm talking about here is this constant, yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that. No, I'm not doing that. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, I didn't get to say a lot of that. And that wasn't because, my parents were dictators and they just demanded. No, it was just this level of, these are the rules and this is how it goes. And this is what's going to keep you safe. And there were conversations, right? There was this conversation to understand why. It wasn't like, you must and you need to just go and don't worry about why. No. But there was a framework that I needed to stay in. And that's how the majority of the world works. We have a framework that we need to stay in order to be successful. The company establishes the framework. If we are constantly saying, I'm not doing that, I'm not staying in that framework, I'm not doing it down that, not going down that pathway, I'm taking us over here, we're going to go try it over this way. That is a clue. And the clue again is we're setting our minds to say, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to be valuable. I don't care if it adds value to the organization the way the organization defined it. I'm doing it my way. And we have to remember that unless we own the company, we're not going to have the authority to go do everything our way. Can we partner, have conversations, take some projects and ask, hey, look, I know you want us over here, but I really think we've got to go over here. Let's test this pathway. Give me some latitude. Let me try it over here. Many times they'll let you test it. If they don't let you test it, there's a very good reason. And you definitely cannot say, no, I don't care. I'm going over. You cannot, right? Hopefully you see the difference between the two. The first one is I have an idea I want to test. I'm still going to follow the framework. I'm still going to be respectful to the company and the asks of the organization, but I have an idea. The other is I'm going to be almost insubordinate. Okay. I'm doing it my way and I don't care what anyone says. That is a possible roadblock. I mean, if you're thinking that, it depends on which one you're going down, right? But if it's, I'm doing it my way, I don't care, roadblock for sure. We can't be successful like that. Not in the long term. Okay. So that's clue number 2 regarding roadblocks. And then clue number 3 is an internal gut check of how you're feeling. Okay. If you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling negative emotions, let's just think negative emotions where you're feeling frustrated, devalued, anything less than I got this type of attitude, right? We're not always going to feel like we got this every day. We're not going to feel happy every single day. Okay. But if you're constantly frustrated, if you constantly feel like you're sacrificing and never being rewarded for it, never being acknowledged, that you're giving all of these things to the company and nothing is being appreciated or rewarded in return, that's a clue. If that's where you're feeling, you're resentful. Resentful is, and resentment is a big emotion. If you're starting to resent the company, that's a gut check. Doesn't mean that it's a roadblock. It could very well be that the company's starting to do things in a way that you no longer align with, and you just need to go find another company. Doesn't make you wrong. Just means the company's changed. Okay. But it could also mean that the company's asking you to come do this over here, and there's really no reason why you couldn't or shouldn't. You've just decided that you're going to sacrifice and do all these things over here because that's what you enjoy and it's the way you want to do it. And it doesn't align with what the company needs. Okay. Well, we got to know. So if you're feeling resentment, frustration, anger, just devalued and unappreciated, that's a clue. Start investigating your emotions. Because it's either you creating that environment by the way that you're approaching the situation, or it's the company creating the environment because that the company's asks don't align with you and the person that you are. And changes have to be made. Either way, right? Either you have to change your mindset or you have to go and change the organization in which you're working with or the team in which you're working with. But some sort of change has to happen. And all we need to know is what's the change, right? Because what I want you to remember is this, and this doesn't fall to you, but I'm teaching you this because as you go and you lead other people, you're going to see this behavior in other people. And you're going to be able to point it out to them and guide them and mentor them down the proper path. And it's this. Anytime we're facing a roadblock that we just walked through this entire month, any of these roadblocks start with us. They start with our mindset, right? We created the roadblocks because of how we're approaching the situation. If we decide that the company's the problem and we go off and start working for another organization and we start giving and sacrificing and doing all the things, and I'm giving this company everything just like I gave the other company everything, and they're just not appreciating it. There's a pattern there, and the common denominator is us, right? So before we start making all these moves in our career and changing companies and changing teams because it's not working and, they're the problem, we always have to look in the mirror and we have to say, are we the problem? Am I the problem here? Because I'm going to own it because I want to be successful on my terms. And the only way I can do that is understanding the asks of the company and meeting the company's requests in the way that the company has asked for it. If I can't do that, I'm at an impasse in my career. I'm not going to be able to move forward. And I have decisions that I have to make. I would much prefer you make the decision that you want to make that empowers you because you have the ability to make the decision because your eyes are wide open and you're seeing the situation for what it is. And that's what this entire month is empowering you to do. Okay. So we've got 3 clues. Remember them? 3 clues, right? What's the first one? I'm not hitting my metrics. Why? Is it resources or is it my mindset? Number 2, I'm not doing it that way. I'm going to do it my way. And then the third one is our emotional state, resentment, frustration, anger, sacrificing and feeling devalued. Those are clues. You may be facing a mental roadblock. Investigate, ask questions, assess the situation, figure it out, and decide what needs to change. Is it you or is it the organization? There's no wrong answer. There's only your answer. But the way that you approach it and the way that you face reality is going to be the power that you have to make the best decision for you. And that's what this is all about, because we want you to be successful, right? All right. I cannot wait to kick off next month with you. See you next Wednesday in the month of November so that we can dive into the new mini series. Go have a great rest of the week. And as always, go and be legendary.